Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Warcraft 3 replay cast. Today it is a 2 vs 2 on Twisted Meadows. It is a Warcraft 3 ArenaNet top replay, and it consists of our first team, our teal orc player, Noff, and our blue night elf player. I am Lil DC, and down on the bottom we have our red team. It's going to consist of the Scourge and player 8, and unfortunately I can't make both the teams, well, one team blue and one team red, just because Warcraft 3 is a little finicky, but it'll have to work out this way for now. And an Ancient of War being developed in the base of the Undead, gonna bring the Acolytes and the Ghoul in, which prevents me from speeding it on up. I had to check out that attempt at an Ancient of War rush. It's quite unorthodox. Gonna be a Death Knight, or our dead Blade Master runs off at hyper speed. For our Orc, and Keeper of the Grove, and another Blade Master for the other Orc.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
Keeper of the Grove moving on out. It's caught up by the Death Knight, and I did see that somebody picked up the Circle of Nobility, and it was the Red Blade Master, which I cannot see on the minimap while he is in Windwalk form, because Warcraft 3, if you're not following them on as the observer, then you cannot see them.
Our sacred grove is being desecrated.
Man, that's 2003 for you, so they did the best they could. So player 8 does get the Circle of Nobility from the shot, bought it right out from Noff there. And I actually haven't heard of these players, but I think they are somewhat well-known players, at least from a while ago. The description of the replay was curious and didn't give too much insight to it, but it is a top replay, so that means it's probably going to be a good one.
Your building is complete. Our warriors have engaged.
And usually the difference between the top replays and the replay of the week on Warcraft 3 ArenaNet is that the top replays usually consist of really good micro, just rather good gameplay overall, and a replay of the week is usually somewhat funny and a little bit of a silly replay. Not always the case, but that's generally the way the admins have described them. I'm going to be Huntresses for I am Lil DC. Well, we'll probably just shorten a Lil DC here shortly. I'll shortly shorten it. Get that pun? That was a good one. Come on, guys. And gets a Ring of Selling for the Blade Master. And Death Knight sporting a clause of attack +6. Must have been from the Knoll camp there. And more Goblin merchant purchasing. Boots of Speed and Circlet of Nobility. Oh my, talking apparently is hard today. Which it usually is for me. I've gotten into a really great career path of casting when it's hard to talk. I just like it too much to switch my career goals. Although, honestly, YouTube, more of a hobby than a career. But, yeah, you guys get the point. I like to ramble. For the Grove in a bit of trouble here. Did cast Entangle on that Grunt. Grunt's way too much health for that Entangle to solo kill. And Entangle on the Crypt Fiend, a better choice. And Huntress is trying to glaive it on down. Fails to do so. Keeper of the Grove juking all kinds of stuff. And now Team Red in a little bit of trouble here. A little bit outmatched by the number of grunts. And Huntress is about to go down, and doesn't look like that poor Huntress will survive. Now the Scourge forced back, and I have casted the Scourge before, I know that for sure. Which exact replay? Not really sure. I've done a lot of them. I think this is number 153. Which to some casters is not a lot, but to me it kind of is.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
And Shadowhunter out as the second hero for Naf. And Team 1 here will be gathering forces, ready for another attack. Entangle on the Crypt Fiend, takes a death coil though, we'll keep it in the game. And Huntresses will get the kill, but may lose a Huntress there on the run. Looks like it will escape for now. Lich now out for the second hero for the Scourge. And a Shadowhunter out for player 8, which is a very, very unique name. Probably took a lot of thought. Maybe player 7 through player 1 was taken, so he had to settle with player 8. And Shadowhunter rather, in trouble here. And a whole mess of hexes going off all over the place. And Shadowhunter trying to make it on out of here. And we'll get into safety of the undead base for now. And a hexed Huntress is doomed and will fall. Tree Life coming on up at the top, and will likely walk on over to the gold mine. Otherwise, it's just not going to do much of anything. I suppose it's very, very likely it will do that. And Naf will be going after the expansion camp. And will you be using just the Shadowhunter to gain as much experience as possible? And it looks like perhaps Boots of Speed may have been purchased there, but a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability and Scroll of Healing could have been purchased as well. Not sure what was in the inventory previously. And takes down the camp at the bottom, gets Runed Bracers on the Death Knight, and not going to be too useful.
Our sacred grove is being desecrated.
And Ring of Regeneration drops for the Shadowhunter. We'll yoink that. And the Rune Bracers will help a little bit throughout the game here, but nothing too crazy. Troll Warlord camp will be crept by 4 heroes. Not much experience here to go around. Blademaster may reach level 2. Does. Lich may reach level 2 as well. And Shadowhunter going to be very close and will be missing 3 experience. And gets a Lionhorn of Stormwind. And a second Lionhorn of Stormwind has dropped for our first team. And a Tome of Experience, really nice there. So a bit of a better drop at the second Goblin Merchant. And now Pit Lord out for the Scourge. And so now both teams will be sporting Devotion Aura, so I guess that sort of cancels each other out a little bit to some degree. Cloak of Selling on the Death Knight and a Wand of Mana Stealing, which I actually find to be a somewhat useful item. A lot of times it gets sold, sometimes it gets used. I usually like to use them though. Always good to steal mana from your opponent. Something I'm always a fan of. And Keeper of the Grove finally makes it to level 2, which has been quite a while, 10 minutes into the game, and has just now reached level 2. And Team Red looking pretty intimidating. Sporting a Troll Berserker in there as well.
Building is complete.
Troll Berserkers, of course, always considered good times by myself. And Lil DC will bail from this situation. And wisely so. Trapped in between a rock and a hard place.
Your building.
And now Naf on his own against the Scourge. And now both sides will collect themselves. Rendezvous at the top of the map. And the expansion up and going for Lil DC. And no expansions going for anyone else. So that could give Team 1 a big advantage throughout the game. Could also send some gold towards Noth. And some Wisp coming in here to dispel the Scroll of Protection. And also yoink some mana as well. And Death Knight in a bit of trouble there in the middle of it all. Will make it out just fine though. And Blade Master now in the middle of it all as well. Does have a potion of invulnerability. Will stay alive for now. And Wisps going off all over the place. And taking away that Scroll of Protection. And even the peons in on the mix, they are pissed. Red Blade Master goes down for Team Red, as the title of Red Blade Master would suggest. And now just a Shadow Hunter left for player 8. And all the peons in on the mix. And even Noths are in on this as well now. And all that Spirit Link going around. Keeping some of that damage low, spreading it out over the peons, because who cares? They're just peons. That's what they're there for. And Death Knight using that Wand of Mana Stealing. We'll have the Town Portal out of here. Red will have to collapse in on the Death Knight there and make it on out of there. Free experience for the leftover Night Elf. And now nearly level 3 on the Keeper of the Grove. And player 8 was attempting to go after the Knoll Overseer camp, but seems like he abandoned that idea. Could get level 3 on the Shadow Hunter. More grunts on the way. You know, take a look at the rest of the bases here. Black Citadel, nothing too crazy coming on out of there. Just Crypt Fiends for now. And Ancient of the Wind. And Dryads on the way. So Talons and Dryads for a little DC. And Raiders still on the way for Noth. Left a Clarity Potion dropped on the ground there. Looks like to pick up that Scourge Bone Chimes. And will do fairly well with Noth, as he has Raiders and Grunts to soak up some of that Life Leech. And now level 3 on the Keeper of the Grove. And sporting a ton of archers. And soon to be a ton of Druids of the Talon and Dryads as well. And little DC currently being followed 59 of 70. Dust of Appearance casted on Noth and is totally visible. Will have to make his escape soon. And does, barely makes it out of there. And now the Keeper of the Grove in a little bit of trouble here. It looks like player 8's Blade Master looking to attack and finds opportunity elsewhere. Takes an entangle. And there are just so many archers. Howl of Terror going off on these archers as well. That Howl was a little too far back. Could have probably gotten in the center of it all and hit the majority of these archers, taking away some of that damage. Death Knight will go down here, not going to make it. And now player 8's Death Knight gone. Howl of Terror hits a good amount of units there. But the Pit Lord in trouble and should be able to make it out of there. Archer's trying to go after him, but makes his escape.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
And now player 8 will have to bail from the Orc base as well. And a nice crit there from Noth. 174 damage on the Red Blade Master. And Salve going on the Blade Master now, and we'll keep him going. And now player 8 totally routed. Will have to make his way back to the base. But a couple heroes coming to help out, but this Pit Lord is really low. It doesn't look like to be in any danger at the moment. Blade Master goes down. Takes a hit from the Lich there. And now the tables have turned on Noth. And will now have to run on back to his own base. Over his ally is now coming around the corner. The flank, nothing there, no. Keeper of the Grove nearly level 5. And fairly good levels on these Scourge's heroes. Death Knight would have been a little bit higher by now had he not fallen. Rock Golem camp will go down, and the Overseer camp goes down as well. Gets another Circular Nobility on the Blade Master. Potion of Invulnerability drops from the Golem. And still plenty of creep camps to go around. Ogre Magi camp, the Golem camp down at the bottom, and all around for the most part. So still plenty of killing to do. Although most of these heroes are nearly level 5. And would not gain experience once they hit level 5, but items are definitely always a good thing. And including a little bit of gold that you get from it, as long as you don't lose any units in doing so. And Halaterra goes off in the midst of all the units there, gets a good amount of them, even some of the archers on the far left. And Shadowhunter nearly goes down. Healing Wave, it keeps him alive. Pit Lord goes down, however. Pit Lord got a little bit too carried away, a little bit too deep in the action, trying to Halaterra the most units possible. Potion of Invulnerability goes off on the Death Knight. That is a 15-second Invulnerability potion. So that Death Knight will be good for a little while. Keeper of the Grove now level 5. And level 3 entangles are something to behold on average units if it is not dispelled. And finally, a Kodo Beast will go down, and Team Red back to their bases to lick their wounds. And 1,600 or so gold, about 1,800 in the bases-ish. And now the Ogre Magi camp for the Scourge. Ogre Magi falls very quickly there and gets a period of vitality on the Death Knight. And that will sure help in the long run. More health, always a good thing. And also picks up a tome. Didn't see what that tome was hidden by the Destroyer. But either way, just a tome. And the Scourge will town portal out of this mess. We'll lose a spider in the process. Also a Dryad goes down as well.
I stand ready.
By the great winds I come.
And little DC still pumping out quite a bit here. That second gold mine coming in handy. And once again, could always transfer some of that gold to his ally. Doesn't quite need it yet. Still 950 gold in the gold mine, which is not a lot to go around. But either way, still producing gold for now.
Research finished.
And a little clicky has gone on the screen at the Ogre Magi camp. We'll see if they decide to get that tiny knoll camp taken out by the Scourge. And a little bit of experience to go around. A Pit Lord now released from the Nether. The Ogre Magi camp will go down for enough. And gonna leave behind his Shadowhunter to get level 5. Tome of Jody drops on the ground. And Team Red moving towards the Lil DC's base up at the top. But I do want to see what drops from the Ogre Magi. Period of Vitality for the Shadowhunter, and the little knoll camp gets taken out. And now Lil DC's base in trouble. One Ancient War down. A second of Ancient War down will go down as well. But 2 town portals directly on top of the units. Pit Lord in a really bad spot, but a really amazing Owl of Terror goes off on all of the units. -5 damage on the archers. And so that does reduce quite a bit of damage. But the Pit Lord goes down regardless in a terrible position. As as the TP landed right on top of him.
Our gold mine has collapsed.
And both sides losing units here pretty quickly. And the Wisps on their way out now to dispel all over the place anything that they may. And also taking away some mana. Not a lot of dispels there, but some mana lost from Team Red. And they were just the gold mine Wisps anyway. Weren't doing all that much for a little DC once that gold mine collapsed. And Hexed Blademaster will make it out alive. And Shadowhunter in trouble here. No potion of invulnerability. Will lose the Shadowhunter, yes or no? Gold or 9, and the Shadowhunter makes it out. Tranquility busted on that Keeper of the Grove. And Tranquility has a very low cooldown. It can be used all the time. I think it's a 60-second cooldown. Actually, I have to check on the numbers of that exact cooldown. All I know is that it can be used a lot. And Lich entangled there by the Keeper of the Grove, but probably might have been better to get that Crypt Fiend, or the Kodo Beast would have released the Grunt as well once the Kodo Beast fell to the Entangle. Instead, the Grunt will just have to suffer inside the belly of the Kodo Beast.
The great outdoors.
And whole mess of mercenaries purchased by Lil DC. And Playmaster gets himself in a really bad spot there. Takes a Frost Nova to the face. And just about to run out of invulnerability. Trying to chase down the Blademaster. Blademaster not enough mana to Windwalk. And no mana to Entank, but there is a Hex. So the Lich will go down, which gives level 6 to the Shadowhunter. And now the Destroyer's in a bit of trouble, hanging out a little bit too long around those archers. And now it is a Blademaster hunting party, but going after the Shadowhunter, a bit easier target. For the Grove in a bit of trouble too. Gotta do Ring Around the Rosy situation to stay alive. And Disenchant keeps the Blademaster in the fight. Takes away that Hex. And Blademaster goes down to level 6 on the Blademaster for Noth, and level 7 on that Keeper of the Grove. Very high level hero game here for a 2 versus 2. And Kodo Beast will fall as well. Another chunk of experience to Team 1. Team Multicolor. Blue and teal. And like I said, I really wish I could make them blue. We can actually show you guys. It's either this, or you can make them all red on the mini-map, but they're actually not red, or you can do this. So that's it. So if anybody in the comments is like, hey, why don't you make them blue and red? It usually only works when you actually have an observer in the game, or if it's a 1 versus 1 situation. Warcraft 3 is a little finicky when it comes to the colors like that. If there's observers and you actually choose the replay vision from the observer, then I believe you can actually make it red versus blue regardless, or at least 2 separate colors regardless of the size of the game. If it's a 1 versus 1, you can easily make it red versus blue, but 2 versus 2, for some reason, with no observers, you just can't do it. Very interesting. I'd figure that would get patched a while ago. Not that it's anything broken, but you know how it is. And poison going out on the Acolytes here, individually hitting the Acolytes to let the poison do a little bit of work, but they are on Blight, so they actually regenerate pretty quickly, so that's not really all that effective for the Acolytes there, regardless of their low health. And Blademaster will go back towards the Acolytes, and maybe Now expansion coming up for Knopf at the bottom right there. And now with all the acolytes dead, no more income for the Scourge. Instead going after the individual burrows of Knopf. And these peons waiting to go work for their Great Hall. However, player 8's peons are now here and have spotted this treachery. And we're going to have a peon war. We are going to have a peon war. It's going down. These peons are upset. Look at this action. Look at it. Look at it. Total destruction. Okay, we'll actually get back to the real game now. And the Death Knight gets himself caught in the position of Knopf a little bit there. Hex goes off, and this may be the end of the Death Knight. And without reliable source of income, that is going to be hard to replace. And the superior numbers of Knopf have prevailed in the Great Peon War of 2017. Keeper the Grove now out, and actually didn't catch his death. It was very interesting. And the Scourge has to call it GG. Cannot replace those heroes on no income. Loses too many expansions and such.
Our warriors have engaged.
And that is GG. Sometimes the game doesn't end entirely early. Even though they've left the game. I think just maybe one left the game. There it goes. And so Team 1, Knopf and Lil DC, the winners. So a pretty high level hero game. And Team Red loses a game, but puts up quite a fight. You know, check out the heroes real quick. 7 and a 6. And a level 7 versus a 6, 5, and 3, and a 5 and 5. Just slightly less numbers due to the fact they had more heroes. 2 more heroes sharing all that experience made them all a little bit weaker. And so probably could have went without the Pit Lord. Pit Lord didn't end up doing that much, although some of those Howls of Terror were actually pretty good, especially with the Town Portal. When the Town Portal landed on the Pit Lord, that was an incredible Howl of Terror. Hit basically every single unit that it could. Of course, it didn't affect the Dryads, but unfortunately, Pit Lord in the middle of it all could not take that kind of heat. Hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.